You're listening to the Live United podcast presented by the nonprofit Tulsa Area United Way. I'm your host, Matthew Gleason, and I'm joined by my dearest and wonderful friend who has the most amazing smile right now. We're both so happy, Madison Cotherman. Thank you so much for being here on this momentous Live United podcast. It's our first ever audio and video episode, and I'm just so excited for you to be here with us, Madison.
Thank you so much, Matthew. I'm thrilled to be here and only a little nervous about the video component.
All right, and today's episode is exciting for many reasons. As I mentioned, our dear friend Jesse Ulrich, who is sitting right next to me, you can't see him, but he is the star of the show today. He's with Pod for Good Media, and he is helping us make this momentous podcast possible. So thank you, Jesse. Before we introduce our guest, I want to take a moment to talk about our subject today, which is Tulsa Area United Way Affinity Groups. Since today's episode is all about them, Madison, could you explain what they are and why they play such an important role to our mission?
Of course. So with my role at Tulsa Area United Way, I get to work directly with our affinity groups. We have two fantastic organizations, Women United and NextGen United. And these are opportunities for donors to engage beyond giving their first gift to the organization, right? It's opportunities to learn more about what's happening in our community, opportunities to network with their fellow donors, people that often they have a lot of great things in common with, and really just kind of connect to our community in new and elevated ways, again, just beyond being a donor. So it's really fun to get to work with these groups, and each year we kind of have a new vision and a new approach to what the programming looks like, but it's just a great way to get involved.
Now, I want everybody to know just how awesome you are, so tell us about your role at Tulsa Area United Way.
Yeah, so I have the honor of serving as the Director of Donor Engagement and Major Gifts. So in addition to working closely with our affinity groups, I'm just always on the lookout for ways to engage our donors in new and exciting ways. So whether that's living wage simulations or tours of our agency partners, just kind of always on the lookout for new and exciting ways to plug in and get involved.
All right, and today we have two amazing guests who help lead these efforts with our affinity groups. So joining us is Heidi Hartman and Emily Underwood. Heidi is our 2025 chair of Women United, and Emily is this year's chair of NextGen United.
Welcome so much, Heidi and Emily. You are two of my very favorite people to work with on a really daily and weekly basis throughout this year, and I'm really excited to share all your great ideas and wisdom for these organizations with our listeners and viewers. So, Emily, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about how you got plugged in with United Way and why you're passionate about NextGen United.
Yeah, so I grew up in Collinsville, Oklahoma, so just 20 minutes outside of Tulsa. So I've always considered myself a Tulsan, even though anyone who really grew up in Tulsa probably wouldn't count that. But now, as what I guess people assume is an adult, I do live in Tulsa, and it's really neat to be there from the residents' perspective. I'm lucky enough that giving back to the community was always a pillar in my family growing up, so it's just a piece of who I am. When I got involved with NextGen, I was really just looking for a place to go where other young adults were interested in giving back to the community as well. There's so many young adults out there, and not everyone is super into the idea or really even knows where to go. So the NextGen Affinity Group is a great place to go for that.
So Heidi, same question for you. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to be involved in Women United?
Sure. Thanks, Madison. So I have a firm, and for the last 15 years have been working with women and helping them move from what ifs to what's possible through coaching, leadership development, and team development. And working with women has been just part of what I've done over most of my career. I would say that I think I was at the very first Women United event, although it wasn't called that at that time. And it has been an amazing opportunity to make friends and great connection over the years. And I am very excited to be leading it this year or being the chair. And we've got a fabulous group of women on the committee who will be helping us figure out what is best for the organization moving forward.
Nice. So with that in mind, Heidi, can you tell us, what are some of your goals that you have for this year for Women United?
Yeah. So, Matthew, I met with Madison and Allison Anthony before the year started to talk about what is the vision for Women United and what are some of the things that we wanted to focus on to ensure we aligned with the mission of United Way. And we've got some great things planned and a great committee that's going to help us execute that.
We are so excited about Women United's 2025 calendar. I'm thrilled to see everyone's reaction as we start rolling out these really wonderful events. Emily, for people that might not be familiar, can you kind of explain what NextGen United is all about and how it serves for a gateway for young professionals to get plugged into philanthropy or volunteerism? I know your story is a really great example of using United Way to plug into other opportunities across our community too.
NextGen United is all about empowering young professionals to make a difference in the community. Many people think giving back is only about writing a check, but in reality, it's about so much more than that. It takes so many hands and so many hours to make the impact that these organizations are working towards and to make everything run smoothly. So volunteering allows you to get in the trenches and see the day-to-day impact of these incredible organizations and truly understand what they do. As we grow in our careers and our financial capacity increases, we not only have the opportunity to give more financially, but to give more of our time and build these meaningful relationships with the different organizations. And it creates a community of people who are involved and have a heart and a passion for the mission of these different organizations that Tulsa Area United Way supports. So if you're wanting to get involved, now's the time. Join the Tulsa Area United Way affinity group that best suits you.
And one of the premier events of the year for Tulsa Area United Way is the Time for a Cause event, Madison. And so I would love for you to tell the audience more about that.
Absolutely. So a fun tidbit before I dive into Time for a Cause is actually the event that brought Emily into the NextGen United and Tulsa Area United Way fold. So it has a really big meaning for all of us in the team because so many people kind of discovered our organization through this event every year. I think this is the 5th year for Time for a Cause. It's been around a little while now. Still finding our groove and trying different things from year to year. So Time for a Cause is NextGen United's totally one-of-a-kind online auction because we are allowing individuals to bid leveraging volunteer time in addition to cash contributions. So really leaning into that idea that sometimes young professionals might be a little bit more strapped in their financial capacity, but they still have generous hearts and want to get involved in the community, want to serve our community, and they can then use their volunteer time to earn really cool experiences that later in their careers they might be bidding on auctions, but we kind of offer our own unique take on it.
I'm really curious, Madison, for you to look back on last year and what were some of those highlights, events, maybe some of the people who really stepped up and did remarkable things.
Absolutely. So we did have amazing leadership of our affinity groups last year as well. We had Heather Earl chairing NextGen United and Kara Hare chairing Women United, and they led us through some really wonderful programs that I'm still looking back on really fondly. Something that stands out for Women United, we had an event in the spring that I think just kind of embodied like Women United at its best. We actually made floral bouquets at a New Leaf. So we were supporting a nonprofit partner. We got a tour of their facilities, an overview of their programs. A New Leaf is just a really cool organization to learn about. So it was really fun to be on site and kind of see what their clients experience and what their lives look like. And then we actually got to take something home. So we took home these beautiful floral bouquets ahead of Mother's Day. And it was just a really fun opportunity we were connecting, we were learning. I just thought it was kind of Women United at its very best. So for NextGen United, something that stands out is we had our first continuing education lunch and learn, and that was kind of a new concept for United Way to get into. We looked around and said, we have access to really incredible community leaders in philanthropy, in education, in healthcare, in all of these different fields. How can we leverage those connections in a way that's really adding value for our donors? So we had a continuing education program where fundraising professionals as well as accountants could actually earn continuing education credit by attending our Lunch and Learn panel. But it was also a really cool program for everyone else in attendance as well. And so I think that kind of set a new precedent, and that'll be something we're looking forward to again in the spring and again in the fall with NextGen 2 is how can we add value for our donors and use United Way's really unique connections in the community to bring the right people into the room for great conversation.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about Affinity Groups and everything that United Way does is it's not possible without our amazing volunteers like Heidi and Emily. And the reason that we all come together is because we all live united. And so I like to end every episode of the Live United podcast, now in video and audio, thanks Jesse, with this one question. Why do you live united? And I'm going to spring this on, I want to start actually with Madison, and then we'll go to Heidi and Emily will close us out. But I'm really curious. Madison is one of my favorite people, and she just believes in the mission so much, and she believes in the Affinity Groups so much. She has such vision. And so, Madison, thank you for being my co-host today. And just tell us, why do you live united?
So for me, living united is really all about community and connecting across our differences and finding that common ground. And I see that every day, whether it's working with donors or working with our neighbors that United Way's programs are serving. I just am constantly impressed and in awe of the way the community comes together. You know, Tulsa has a few taglines at this point. I think one of them is along the lines of America's most generous city. And I'm always just so excited by the way this community shows up for each other. And that's why I Live United is for the community of people that are working together, the community that we're serving, and just proud to be Tulsa area residents. So Heidi, tell me why you live United.
Madison, I think I am so fortunate that my folks were very involved in the community, and they instilled that in all four of us kids, really the value of giving back. And I started living united after my very first full-time job and have just not looked back. And now that I work for myself, a portion of all our profits go back to donations for the United Way. And when you think about the Tulsa Area United Way and all of the agencies that it supports and the mission, it does so much good in our community and it just has the tentacles out in all the areas in surrounding Tulsa as well. And I just think that is so important. As you mentioned, is that part of the community and collaboration. It's how we help each other. And just instilling that is part of who I am.
I see that every time you walk into a room, Heidi. Thank you for sharing that. Thanks. And Emily, close us out. Why do you live united?
So to piggyback a little bit off of what my friend Heidi said, living united and giving back to the community has always been a big piece of who I am and a pillar in my family growing up. So to me, it's really all about the community, the impact, and the connection. So when you're giving back to the community, you not only are making a difference for your neighbors, you are connecting with other people who are passionate about something that you are also passionate about, and hopefully your passion is growing in that space as well. And you're also making an impact and you're changing lives. And there's really just no better way to live than to live united.